Hey guys, I'm Tim with Tim Stout Associates. Across from me is Caleb. Today we're going to do a video questions from a new investor. Caleb is he's one of my realtors that work on my team. He's very excited and very interested in investing in real estate. And I assume that the questions he has are a lot of questions that the audience has. So we're going to, on the fly, I don't know the questions he's going to ask. So we're going to let him ask the questions. And we're going to get into a dialogue about them to help him better understand it, in return, help you better understand it. So what you got, Caleb? So Caleb, you have no properties so far, right?
None, zero.
He owns his personal residence, no rental properties, but his goal in 2022 is to have a rental property. I currently have, I have nine properties, including my personal property. So I bought 4 this year, and I flipped a few this year. So. First question.
Interesting. All right, so my first question is, what are the steps to finding a good deal?
Okay. Finding a good deal. Right now, the market has shifted. When I first got into the business in 2013, and I started buying my first rental property in 2015, a good deal, there were a lot of good deals, but nobody had money. So fast forward to 2022, there's a lot of money in the economy. A lot of people have money, but there's not a lot of good deals. So this is a great question. Normally, most investors are buying off the MLS. Not your really successful ones, but the most people who want to get into the business. So they're looking off MLS, Zillow, and the same modality as everybody that are looking for the end user is still looking. So what I mean by an investor, you want to be the middleman. You have to create value. But you can't be the middleman shopping at the same store where someone who wants to buy the property to live in. So there's a different type of value. So those properties have to be found off market most of the time. One big key is people need to know that you are always looking to buy properties, that you can make it easy for them. You can buy the property without evicting the tenant. You can buy the property and leave them in as a tenant, because a lot of sellers, they want them to cash out on their money, but they're not going to have nowhere to go. So you can buy the property and then rent it back to them. So there's a lot of options for that.
Okay, interesting. So question number 2, how do people start investing into real estate with no money?
Okay, good question. No money is difficult as a new investor. The more experience you get as an investor, the more you'll realize the different ways that you can invest with no money down. One of the big ones with no money down is you can assume loans. People who already have a loan, you can assume them. You can do subject to. Subject to is like I'm going to buy your property, but I'm going to keep the mortgage in your name. So basically, if you have a $100,000 mortgage, we agree on a $120,000 property. I can bring in $20,000 from an investor, have no money in, then I can subject to the $100,000 you have. My investor will get paid. The mortgage will get paid. And they'll make the $20,000, and you make what's left as far as cash flow. There's that wholesaling is another one that's really popular. Wholesaling is, we was talking about the difficulty of finding the deal. All a wholesaler does is find the deal, and if I get the deal under contract, say Caleb wants to sell a property, I tell Caleb I'll give Caleb $80,000 for that property. I get Caleb to sign a contract that he'll sell it to me for $80,000. That property is really worth $100,000. So now I go and I call all my investor friends who have money, and I say, okay, now I'll sell you this contract, which is binding, for $85,000. So Caleb gets someone to buy the property for $85,000 on a contract. So what happens is they go to closing, and there's 2 contracts. There's a contract Caleb has with the buyer, and then there's a contract that Caleb has with the end seller. So the $85,000 will go to the attorney. The attorney pays Caleb $5,000 and pays the person who sold the property $80,000, and now the end buyer takes control and possession of the buyer or possession of the property, and that's wholesaling. Wholesaling is a really popular idea, but not a lot of people do really well at it because there's a lot of people wanting to do that right now as wholesale properties, and I'm on about 15 wholesaler lists, so I get these properties, and the majority of the properties I see are not deals. There are people getting the properties under contract, but they're almost at retail. So there's no area to make money. And when there's no area to make money, investors don't want in most of the time.
Awesome. So number 3, When dealing with a hard money lender, what is a good interest rate to start with? And can you provide an example for when you're approaching, the first time you're approaching a hard money lender?
Okay. A hard money lender is someone that's not a bank that'll loan you money. Could be friends, family, could be a true hard money lender, someone you don't know that has money. The cycle of investing, people usually invest in properties, they make money, and then they get tired of hunting the property, finding the money, and doing the deal. So they become the bank because now they have money. They've got this money. So if Caleb wants to borrow, say he's buying a $100,000 property, and Caleb wants to borrow $80,000, he has his $20,000 down because most hard money lenders want you to have some skin in the game. So they'll loan him the money. Basically, they give him the mortgage, and if he doesn't pay, the hard money lender gets it. And right now, I would say most hard money rates are probably 7 and 8%, because your average rates are 3 to 4. So usually they're almost double, 7 to 8, and a lot of them have points which you'll pay off like once you buy the loan back.
Okay, interesting. Number 4, which is better for a new investor, buy and hold for cash flow or fix and flip?
Okay. This is one of the more popular questions I get. So this one is it. Everybody likes the idea of fix and flip because they get to buy a property for $100,000, renovate the property, and then they create value. So say they buy it for $100,000, and I'm just using numbers for easy math. They put a $20,000 renovation in it, and now it's worth $150,000. So they created a $30,000 spread. And so that's what they sell it, that's what they keep. And this is very appealing because it's quick money. You don't have to deal with tenants. You don't have to deal with being a landlord. You don't have to deal with a lot of the issues that come along with buying and holding. But you only take advantage of one of the things that really give you a benefit of investing in real estate, and that's the equity. When you sell it, you get the equity. Buying and holding, there's tax benefits, there is equity, and another one is there's debt pay down. So if you're holding the property, renting it, someone else is paying down your debt. That is super important. That's something that doesn't happen in most places. And then houses appreciate every year. Even in a down market like in 2008, when the market prices come down, they always go higher. So even though they're up and down, we're always trending upwards. So buying and holding, you get to take advantage of all 4 of those. So I am a buy and hold investor. I will flip a few if they don't fit my criteria. Like I can get a good deal on a property and it doesn't fit exactly what I want. I will sell it to keep from getting out of my 3 C's, my crystal clear criteria. So
okay, so over the years you have you've come up with your own criteria that fit that, like your properties that fit your own criteria.
Over the years, my criteria has changed. When I first started in it, I was buying the cheap houses, the cheap renters, but your average rent, say around this area, you can get 10% a year, 12% a year. I was able to get 24% a year on paper, but then I realized really quick, buying a $50,000 house, I was able to rent for $800. I was doing that, but then I realized that the eviction every 6 to 7 months. I was 1 month out of rent. I had to put new carpet. I had to paint the house. I had to find a new renter. So the money was about the same, except your debt was getting paid down smaller because it was less of a loan, and your appreciation was less because it was less of a value. So I learned really quick that I like this middle area. I like average price point where we're at is probably $350-ish, $400, and I like the houses between $150 and $250. That gives a premium rent. I can still make 10 to 12%. They're good renters. They're appreciating, and they're always in demand.
Awesome. So last question I have for you. In this market, it's tough to find a property with the 1% rule. So what do you recommend outside of the 1% rule?
Okay. I like 10% a year. So it's 1%, and 1% is 12%. So, I can back it down to 10%. Another one is realize that cash flow is not your only way to make money with real estate investing. Cash flow is a lot of the big hitters think cash flow is a hedge, but cash flow is not a must. Your real money made in real estate investing, especially buying hold, is not cash flow. Your real money is appreciation. If you buy a $100,000 property, say you bought a $100,000 property in 2020. Now that $100,000 property is worth $130,000. So you've, out of thin air, have made $30,000. And say you made some cash flow, you saved some money on taxes, but the other thing is your renter is paying down your debt. So your $100,000 property is now $95,000 or whatever, but now it's worth $130,000. So you've created $135,000. So you could actually refinance that property, pull that 80% of that equity out, and reallocate it toward another property, which someone else is paying down, and it's appreciating in value. So people get caught up on the 1%, the 10% rule, which is great, but it's a hedge. If you don't need the cash flow now, like right now you're working full-time as a real estate agent, you're doing really good. Cash flow should not be near as important as you as buying a property that's going to appreciate, because that's where your real wealth comes in.
Okay, interesting.
Makes sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Any other question?
I do actually. You brought up, we were talking about, going back to question 3, we were talking about the investors and hard money lenders. And we talked about 7 to 8%. What terms and is it an example? Can you provide an example for like how many years?
Okay, most of the time it's going to be a balloon payment. So it's basically like you're going to buy a property, $100,000 property, for easy math. I'm going to give you 8%. We're going to amortize the loan as if it was a 30-year mortgage. And the reason they want to do a 30-year mortgage is because it has you paying more of your interest up front. So you're going to pay on this for 3 years, and then a balloon hits, which means now, even though we were amortized, meaning the payment was made out as if you were going to own the property for 30 years. At year 3 or year 5, 10, whatever terms you make, the whole property comes due. So in those 3 years, you've got to stabilize that property, improve the property, raise the rents, so you can go to the bank and get a real loan on it. So the benefit of that is the investor gets paid 3 years worth of interest, then they get paid off completely on the end. You get a lower interest rate from the bank, and now your cash flow even better. So it gives you time to stabilize the property. But most hard money lenders, if I was to do hard money lending, it would definitely be a balloon, because it's not going to benefit me to hold a property for 30 years making 8% when I could invest in a property and make 10 and 12.
And do you do hard money lending?
I do not, and because I'm still actively hunting deals.
Awesome.
Now JV, which is a joint venture, like if you were to come to me with a deal, and this is another one of no money down. If you come to me and you're like, Tim, I got this deal, and I evaluate the deal, and I'm like, okay, well, this is a deal. And then you look at me and be like, but I don't have any money. We would evaluate a portion of that equity of like, okay, well, you finding the deal, if I need to buy a deal at 20% discount and say it's 30%, okay, let's buy the deal, and I'm going to give you 10% equity just for finding the deal. So instead of me paying you for the deal, like in the wholesale stat, we'll become partners on it. Like if we're cash flowing $500 a month, you're going to make $50. So it's at 10%. So it doesn't pay, but what you're going to learn in education, especially real estate education, if you have an opportunity to work with a big investor for free, do it. That's how you make your money. That's where you're going to learn, because knowledge is the one thing that no one can take from you. So the more you learn, the more deals you're about, the more conversations you have, the better you're going to be able to do it. So you can also JV and find. So people who are looking for properties in Coweta, Fayette, Troup County, you found a good property, bring it to me. If it works, it works. And I'm happy to team up with anybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Hey guys, if you have any questions about real estate investing, leave a comment, shoot me a message, and I'd be happy to maybe do a second video of this and hit up some of your all's questions. Guys, remember, who you work with matters, and have a great day.